Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 219. My name's Adam Patterson. Joining me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing alright.
This week on the show, we'll be reviewing Michel Gondry's latest, Microbe and Gasoline, along with Mickey Keating's latest, Carnage Park. We'll also be talking about some other stuff we've been watching on the watch list, movie predictions, new on video on demand, Blu-ray releases. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We got some movie news here, just a couple things that I wanted to mention. First up, Michael Cimino has passed away, the director of The Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
This makes me want to watch Heaven's Gate. I've never seen Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, that's been on my list for quite some time.
But it's if you're not familiar, it's notorious. It's a notorious film in that it within the first days of shooting, it went way over budget and ended up costing like, I can't remember what the final number was. It was like $50 million or something, which adjusted for inflation is like $124 million, something like that. And the final cut of the movie that he gave to the studio was like 5 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he was just abusive. Like he was abusive to the cast, and it was just a horrendous thing. And then also one thing that this movie's famous for is the amount of animal abuse that took place on set. Actually caused a shift in how animals are handled on movie sets. It caused regulations to come down with how animals should be treated on movie sets because so many animals were killed on the set of this movie. Not purposely killed, accidentally killed because of how they were handled. Yeah. So apparently it's a very notorious movie. Bombed. And it pretty much ruined his career. And it almost, I think it did end up sinking United Artists who were funding it. They ended up getting bought out by MGM as a result.
But it is interesting now that all I read is how amazing of a movie it is, which is what initially led me to want to see it.
Well, it's on Criterion.
I didn't know any of the other, like the background stuff. But I just kept reading that, it's amazing. Oh, it's one of the best films ever made.
It looks really good. I mean, it's with Chris Christopherson and Jeff Bridges. Criterion re-released it, so you can probably see a nice remastered version on Criterion. But yeah, I want to see it. I want to check it out. Because I think that the final theatrical release was under 3 hours. So they did trim it down a lot. But yeah, it's sad that that happened. Some other kind of, this is more infuriating rather than sad, but Cinemark Theaters are looking to seek $699,187.13 in legal fees from the victims and families of the Colorado shooting that took place a few years ago. This is the one with the Dark Knight Rises. So basically, there was a class action lawsuit filed against Cinemark Theaters after the shooting by the victims' families. They lost. And because they lost, they are subject to paying the defendants' legal fees, and Cinemark looks like they are, in fact, going to seek those fees. What a dick move.
Wow.
I mean, that's like who made that decision?
Wow.
It's like, yeah, we're sorry that your son or daughter was killed in our theater, but you got to pay us now.
Jesus.
It's bad enough that they charge $10 for a small popcorn, am I right?
Damn. Throwing jokes in there, too.
Cinemark
Shit.
burn. This makes...
Christ.
I don't even know if there are any Cinemark theaters in my area, but I would say this is enough to boycott that theater chain. Like, just don't go to Cinemark theaters anymore because they're garbage people and they don't deserve any money at all.
No.
Because that is horrific. It's just horrific.
Yeah.
To do something like that.
I don't even have anything to say about that. That's just wow.
Like they won the court case, so
yeah,
just take that. Take that as a win and leave it. They didn't ask you to spend $700,000 in legal fees. It's on you. Yeah, so don't go to Cinemark theaters anymore because they're garbage people. Trailers this week. Got a couple interesting ones to note here. The Childhood of a Leader Have you seen this?
I've not seen
Read
that.
about it? Know anything about it?
Is this the Corbett one?
Mm-hmm. Brady Corbett's directorial debut.
I do want to see that.
It looks really good. It's a period piece, but don't let that sway you because it looks like it's sort of looks like kind of a psychological thriller. Robert Pattinson's in it, but it looks quite good. The trailer's excellent too. So I would definitely keep that on your radar. Joshi, new comedy. This one interests me as well, because it has a lot of people that I like in it. So it's basically about this guy played by Thomas Middleditch, who he was going to have a bachelor party, but then his engagement was called off, and they already had like the deposit and everything, so they decided to do the bachelor party anyway. So it's just about him and his close friends having this sort of bachelor party, but not really. It turns into like kind of this just depressing weekend of drinking. And it's with Adam Pally, Alex Ross Perry, Nick Kroll, Brett Gelman, Jenny Slate, Aubrey Plaza, Joe Swanberg, Chris Swanberg, Allison Brie,
Jesus.
Jake Johnson. Yeah. I'm all about this cast. So the trailer's not great. It's not that funny, but I'm still into it. It's directed by the guy who did Life After Beth with Aubrey Plaza, the zombie one, which I wasn't a fan of, but I'm still into this movie.
Yeah, and he wrote I Heart Huckabees.
Yes, he did. Yep.
That sounds interesting. I never heard of that.
Yeah. It screened at Sundance this year.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for Joshi. The final one that I'll mention is Sully. This is the Sully Sullenberger.
Oh.
With Tom Hanks, directed by Clint Eastwood. Man, why is this a movie, guys? Why does this exist? Come on. It looks so bad to me. I can't get on board with this. I like Tom Hanks. I'm a big fan of Tom Hanks, and I've liked a number of Clint Eastwood's directorial efforts, but this one is definitely not doing it for me. It looks almost, but not quite as sappy as that the oil one. What's the oil spill one? With Mark Wahlberg.
Oh,
Deepwater Horizon.
Something along those lines. I know what you're talking about. I'm curious to know how long this Sully's gonna be.
It's probably gonna be like 2.5 hours long.
It's probably going to be.
It's gonna be long as shit.
It'd be ridiculous. I can feel it.
But man, you know that when he lands it on the water, you know it's gonna be epic. That scene's gonna be epic. They're gonna put all their money into that scene.
Well, yeah,
with the bird going into the engine, and them like, we're going down, and people, they're just gonna be like so scared, and they're gonna be like texting their families and stuff, and
that's gonna be that's like the whole movie. No one's gonna care about anything leading up to that scene. Like, people are only gonna go to see that scene.
Yep. It just seems like another like one of those like the Chilean Miner movie where it's like I don't think this needs to exist. It's a great story, you know, it's a miraculous story, but do we need it in film form? I don't think so. I don't think we do.
We do not.
Let's start off with Microbe and Gasoline. I don't know why. That's just what we're going to start with because I mentioned it first, the top of the show.
All right.
This is written and directed by Michel Gondry. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen him.
Yeah, it feels like it has been quite some time.
I think his last movie was I already forgot the name of it. The one about the kids on the bus.
Oh, I forgot about that one. I forgot that existed in between. I was thinking Mood Indigo was the last one.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think Mood Indigo did come out after. The We in the Eye is the name of that one, the bus one. But I'm pretty sure Mood Indigo did come out afterwards. Yeah, you're right. So anyway, I have a synopsis here. Two young friends embark on a road trip across France in a vehicle they built themselves. Now, Kevin, you have a review for this up on the site, so I think I'll start it off. I liked Microbe and Gasoline just fine. It wasn't anything mind-blowing. It had those Michel Gondry touches, but they were very slight in this one. It was sort of like the We and the I in that he was very restrained in this one, whereas Mood Indigo, he went all out. And in this one, he was really the only thing that had his kind of stamp on it. I feel was the car house itself.
Yeah.
And there were some other kind of little creative flourishes, like the kid's bike that had the little microphone and the sound machines, and just there were a few kind of quirky, fun little scenes here and there, like them synchronizing their fake watches and stuff, which I appreciated. But you know, there wasn't anything amazing about this movie, but it was just kind of a fun, lighthearted, coming of age sort of road trip movie, and I found it quite entertaining.
I agree 100% with you. And I think it does kind of depend on where you stand with Gondry regarding those creative flourishes. Because I know that some people, they feel that like something like Mood Indigo is like it's too much. It's exhausting. It's just way too much of that whimsy that he has in there. But see, me, I love that. I love when he just goes all out and it's just nonstop.
I think for me, it's when he's kind of in the middle. Like, to me, Be Kind, Rewind was the perfect blend of, like, down-to-earth realism and then also kind of, dreamlike, just pure creativity.
Yeah. And I have to say, I was kind of, number one, I was surprised that there wasn't that much because, like you say, it really comes down to just the gardening shed go-kart that they build. And there's little things here and there, but mostly it's just the gardening shed that they build. And in all honesty, it takes a while to get to that point.
Yeah, because
there's a lot of buildup.
Yeah, because they have to build it.
Which I mean, I did appreciate to a certain extent because they did, he did develop these characters and their relationship and stuff, and kind of built up to that moment where they go out on their own, get their freedom and their independence. But like you said, I do. It's just a fun time.
Yeah,
it's a lighthearted movie. It's not heavy. It's not just nonstop attempts at humor, just over and over again. Just one joke after another. It's just more of just I would say, charming.
Yeah,
just had a smile on my face the whole time. I don't know if it's a movie that's really going to stick with me.
Right.
Down the road, 5 years, 6 years from now or so. But while I'm watching it, I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, same here. I thought that the two main characters were likable, they were endearing. I did like, going back to what you said, that he took the time to really develop these characters out, like their home life, their family life, their relationship with their parents, all of that stuff helped shape who they are, and that's very evident on the screen. Like, you can really understand and get in these kids' head and understand where they're coming from and why they are the way they are, and it all fits into place, and I like that a lot. I think that the character development was really well done in this movie, and the showing their home life and their family life and the personality of their parents as well, I think went a long way with that.
Yeah.
And then how they're looked at school too. It helped solidify them as being these kind of weird outsiders that aren't very well liked, and so naturally they gravitated towards one another and helped this friendship form. I couldn't tell. It's so funny though, the character of Daniel, he throughout the movie he gets mistaken for a girl, and for the first probably 10 to 15 minutes of the movie I was trying to figure out if it was a boy or a girl. I could not figure it out.
They keep coming back to it.
But after he gets the haircut, he definitely looks like a boy.
Which I did love how he gave his first attempt at a haircut, and then him giving himself a haircut.
Yeah. They have the Korean brothel. He gets a haircut at a Korean brothel. That was a funny scene. And
I thoroughly enjoyed. And like I said in my review, I thought it was refreshing to see this kind of like the sweetness in their relationship, in their friendship, that you don't normally see, in movies that are about like teenagers, like going all out in the summer. Right. Like there's that one point that, they're holding hands to help each other out because the one's terrified of flying.
Mm-hmm.
And the Daniel kid has this thing where he kind of rocks to go to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of like self-conscious about it, but Theo doesn't really make fun of him for it and kind of actually wants him to do it because it ends up helping him go to sleep as well.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of nice moments like that.
And it's not there's no like undertones of anything either. It's just it's pure, and I appreciated that too, because a lot of movies these days like to throw in undertones and have it be, like, oh, they're falling in love with each other or something like that, and throw in these things, and it's like, we don't need that. Like, this movie doesn't call for that.
No, and
that's not the type of movie this is.
No, because you can look and see that it kind of comes down to, because of the way Gondry kind of develops the home lives. You see that Daniel spends a lot more time with his mother, and he definitely has a more feminine side to his personality. And
right.
You can see that there's numerous times. Yeah, there's numerous times throughout their trip where he does like some motherly things, like when he buys Theo new underwear and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where it doesn't necessarily have this undercurrent of like you said, are they falling in love with each other and stuff, but it's just more of him like being a mother, almost, looking out for his friend.
Whereas the other kid, did you say Theo or Daniel? Because Daniel was the one that was the motherly one.
Yeah, I don't know if I said.
I can't. Theo was more he's like the mechanic, so he's the one. He works with his father, so it's like he's got, he's the other side of that.
Yeah, he's definitely like the more masculine.
And that's why they call him Gasoline, because he's always working on fixing things, and he just constantly smells like gasoline, apparently.
Which he kind of, helps Microbe get a little more confidence in himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was a really nice depiction of male friendship. I thought it was, more, movies that kind of tackle this, like I identified with this more so than, like I would almost say like the American version, where they're usually more mean-spirited with each other.
Right.
They're just out trying to get chicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get laid. We got to get rid of our virginity.
And that did play at least a small role. I mean, these are, 13, 14-year-old kids that are, coming into their sexuality. So it certainly played a role. There was that really awkward masturbation scene, but which further really confused me, as far as, because at that point I still wasn't sure if it was a guy or a girl. And I was like really confused. But so they do touch on those things, but they don't make that the focal point. It's not like these guys are on a road trip to get laid.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't like that. I mean, they were on a road trip, and if they happened to get laid, then that was just bonus points.
Yeah, but that wasn't really like what was thrusting them forward.
Exactly. And I certainly appreciated that. Comparing this to other Michel Gondry films, what did you think of this visually? Like, where does this compare? And
well, that was the main thing that was kind of a letdown. Like, number one, like we both kind of said that there's a restraint with his his creativity, his whimsy that he throws in there. But also visually, there wasn't a lot going on. I mean, I thought it was well enough made, but there was nothing that really like stood out to me.
Right.
I mean, he dips into it here and there, like when they take the plane ride back, and then how it's going backwards, and then it's just
that was interesting.
He's dreaming, and then Daniel's aware of the cuts in the film, and he's trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked that little thing. Would you know? Like, if you didn't know that this was directed by Michel Gondry, watching it, would you say this looks like it's directed by Michel Gondry?
I would, just because of the inventions.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like the garden shed, go-kart and stuff. That would clue me in. Now, visually speaking, like the cinematography, the camera tricks and stuff, no, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Or having like the bike with the sound effects, and then the go-kart that they make, like that's all Gondry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know if I would instantly recognize his style, because he does have a very specific style, but because it's more muted and more realistic and grounded than a lot of his other movies, I don't know if I'd immediately pick up that this was one of his.
And I gotta say, like the biggest thing for me, outside of the way he handles the friendship, which again is the biggest highlight for me, but coupled with that is the performances from the two leads. I mean, they're first timers, but like their chemistry with each other, like really showed. They
Yeah,
really.
they nailed it. Yeah, they really sold the idea of them being friends. And these are two people in the movie that are just becoming friends too. So they don't know each other. It's not like, the movie starts with them already coming up through, grade school together or whatever.
Yeah, and they're still working out like what are the boundaries of their friendship.
Yeah.
Like what hurts whose feelings, like what areas can you go into, what other, what areas you got to kind of stay away from, because there are moments where they piss each other off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just thought the way that all that was handled was I could definitely relate to.
Yeah, definitely. And it was funny too. I don't want to undercut the fact that this is a comedy, and there were a number of really funny moments, but it wasn't like a nonstop laugh riot. Yeah.
No, it's just one of those movies that just puts a smile on your face.
Yep. Yeah. All right, Microbe and Gasoline. I think you gave this a 7, right?
Yeah.
I'm also gonna give this one a 7. It was just, I like coming of age stories. This was a solid one. Wasn't anything amazing. I'll probably forget most of the plot of this by the end of the year, but I found myself enthralled while it was on. I liked the scene with the when they stole the football too. That was great.
Yes, I also forgot this the little thing of when Daniel comes back and his mother's like, "Oh, you really grew." The way that the way that he shot that they're the same height now.
Oh yeah,
it's just a subtle little thing.
Little touches. So that's Microbe and Gasoline that is playing in limited release right now. Let's talk about our next movie, Carnage Park. This is pretty much the polar opposite of Microbe and Gasoline. This is written.
Sure is.
Yeah, this is written and directed by Mickey Keating. I have a synopsis here. After botching an ill-conceived bank robbery in a desolate California town, two wannabe crooks flee the scene with a hostage and lead the local lawmen on a dangerous high-speed chase. This stars Ashley Bell, Pat Healy, and James Landry Hebert.
Yeah.
Larry Fessenden in there too, in
yes,
cameo.
Yes.
He loves doing those little cameos. Kevin, we'll start with you on this one. What did you think of Carnage Park?
Oh boy. I'm not quite sure. This has happened to me twice this week. Okay, where there's a movie in which I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it, because they're both mostly just like, it's just like a violence pageant. It's just like, oh, let's do violence. I did find it somewhat interesting in the way that it starts. You think that it's about this botched robbery attempt and their hostage, and then that quickly goes out the window, and it's not that anymore.
Yeah, I knew that it was about that going into it, and I kind of hoped that they rode that out a little bit more. There's something that happens very early on after they get to this compound of sorts, and it pretty much gets rid of that whole idea that this is a hostage thing. And I wanted them to kind of ride that out a little bit more, just to see more interaction between the criminal and Ashley Bell, the hostage.
Yeah,
I wanted to see a little bit more about one more Scorpion Joe in this.
I did want a little, because they're building Scorpion Joe up too, which I found interesting, because they do like a whole title card for Scorpion Joe.
Yeah, I liked. I mean, he was an evil son of a bitch, but I wanted to see more of how he handled the situation that he put himself in. And
I just like James Landry Hebert. I thought he was fantastic in Two Step, and I was like, oh man, this is another, and he's like full in to this whole idea of Scorpion Joe, and it's like, oh man, this is gonna be great.
Yeah, it's unfortunate what happened there. This movie for me was there were flourishes of things in this that I was like, oh, that's great, that's fantastic. I'm loving what is happening here. I like the premise. I like a lot of the shots in this. A lot of the visuals were interesting, especially the scene when she finds the the record player, the toy record player,
Mm-hmm.
and the I don't know if it's, I guess it's not, it's in the trailer. Pat Healy is the bad guy, and he's shooting at her from a very long distance away with like a sniper rifle, and you hear the shot way out in the distance, and then you see the hole appear on this like billboard that she's standing next to, and that whole scene I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And there were several scenes like that in this movie where I'm like, man, like the visual style of this is very much so taken from it's a grindhouse movie. That's what it is. I mean, there's a lot of, if not Tarantino influence, certainly the movies that influenced Tarantino, you know, the 70s grindhouse desert movies where everything's very desaturated. Everything from like including the title card, which I loved, of course. But
it was the only thing that kind of threw me for a loop at the very, because I didn't really know what this was going into it, and then seeing it, you know, as it's kind of playing out towards the beginning, I was like, okay, so this is kind of like a riff on like Punishment Park movie from the 70s, because I guess Pat Healy's kind of playing like a Vietnam vet, comes back, and you know, now he has this like sprawling, desolate desert where he's, I guess, just made a game for himself, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the thing that threw me is like at the beginning, he's, you know, just an unknown person that he's taken down, and he's the sniper, and just the way in which he holds the gun to shoot, like that's not how a sniper holds a gun. And I'm just like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
I don't know if that was supposed to be like a little bit of comedy right there.
I don't know. I don't remember how he was holding it. So
he doesn't even like line up a sight or anything or aim. He just kind of like holds it out in front of him and shoots. And he's holding it really awkwardly too. And it's like, that's not how you. Okay. And I was just thrown off so much because, like I said, it's the beginnings of this robbery attempt, and we do so much build up to it, and they do flashbacks.
I thought the flashbacks were great too. I like how they did those.
I did. I mean, I didn't mind them. I didn't think they were bad. I didn't think they were great. I just thought that, you know, they were serviceable. And I like this whole idea, and then it's all kind of like thrown out the window, and then we're just kind of left with Ashley Bell's in a worse situation than she was before, which is kind of interesting. But then it just turns into her like she has to escape this madman, and I just felt it felt way too drawn out at times.
They certainly threw the interesting premise to the side very quickly, and it turned into a pretty typical horror movie at that point. It reminded me of almost like a Rob Zombie movie. Certainly had some Texas Chainsaw Massacre influence in there as well.
Yeah, which she's just got to outwit this guy.
Yeah, which I liked Pat Healy as the villain too. I like Pat Healy a lot, and I thought that he plays a great villain, and I wanted more of him too in it. But I always want more of Pat Healy and everything. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, then it got a little bit interesting again, like towards the end when they get like in this like tunnel system mine thing going on, because I thought what he did with like the sound design in that was really creepy.
Yeah, because she gets into this mine system, and it's so dark that for a large portion of it, you can't see anything. Like, she can't see anything, but we can't see anything either. And that was one of the issues I had with it, is that I felt like that scene went on for way too long, and then the movie ends right after that. And I was like, like it felt like, you know, I liked the final shot, but everything leading up to that, I just didn't feel like it had much, you know, like gravitas to it.
Yeah, it started to lose its, because I guess, you know, it's still kind of like trying to build this tension or whatever, but it kind of fell flat for me. Especially considering, like you say, you can't really see anything. Now, luckily, the sound in that throughout that whole stretch of the film, I thought was great with the music and the, you know, it's all slowed down and everything. It's really creepy, but at the same time, you can't really see anything, so you're just like, okay, I know, like I'm kind of creeped out, but there's nothing really else here for me.
Yeah, and I'm okay with doing a scene like that. I think that's interesting. But I just felt like it went on for too long. I felt like it needed to be, you got to tighten that up a little bit.
And it was I just the one thing that kind of got me was when the sheriff shows up, and I'm just like, wait a second, is that Cameron Fry?
You bet.
And it was.
You bet it was Cameron Fry.
It's like, holy shit, where's Alan Ruck been all this time?
I'll go.
I haven't seen him in ages, man.
Yeah. I liked his character as well. And I guess was Pat Healy's brother in this.
Yeah, which I mean that something happens there, which didn't really, I don't know, just felt off to me the way in which he gets.
I knew it was gonna. I had a feeling that was gonna happen. Let's talk about the violence, because this is a pretty. I mean, with a movie with the title Carnage Park, which, by the way, I think is a great title.
There's a lot of carnage.
There is a lot of carnage in this movie, and I was thinking to myself, well, how much carnage can we have? Because really, it's just 1v1 here. It's really just Pat Healy versus Ashley Bell, and she's trying to escape. But they managed to put in a whole lot of carnage. And
it's really interesting too that he has that much carnage all at once. Like there's bodies everywhere, and they're all fresh too. Yeah. Like he doesn't clean up after himself.
Nah,
which you would think he would.
You know, he doesn't have to. Let the buzzards do that.
I guess, but I mean, they're just everywhere.
They are. There are a lot of bodies. He's been at work for a while on this death compound of his. And it seems like Ashley Bell, because he's trying to shoot her, right? So it seems like if he did succeed and shot her, she'd be getting off lucky, because what happens to some of these people looks really bad. Like,
yes.
Like it looks like he's torturing people. Poor Larry Facetin's got a freaking bear trap caught around his ankle. And I guess he just left Larry Facetin. He was just like, yeah, I'm done with him.
I guess he was going to come back, maybe.
Maybe.
It seems like he's just having a really tough time keeping up with all the people.
Problem is, there's too much. There's too much carnage happening for one man to handle.
Yeah.
Too many people entering his land.
Which it seems like he got a shit ton of land.
Heck yeah. A whole desert.
How do you get that?
I don't know. I guess desert land is probably not too expensive.
Relatively cheap.
Can't do much on it. Can't grow anything. But you can sure kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
So overall, I enjoyed this. I think Mickey Keating is to me he seems like he's just a machine at this point. The dude's been turning out movies.
That was the first thing when it said Mickey Keating. I'm like,
we just reviewed.
I was like, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, that's one reason I picked it, because we reviewed Darling not too long ago.
That's just like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and he's coming out, and his next one's out already. So the dude's just been, and it clearly he likes his horror movies, but thus far he seems to like to mix it up and play with different subgenres within horror. And when you compare this to Darling, it's wildly different.
Yeah,
which I appreciate. And I think that, I mean, I definitely think that all of these are like a learning experience for him, and I think that he's becoming more astute as a director. Like I liked this one significantly more than Darling. That isn't to say that I hated Darling or anything, but I thought that this one was more well made than Darling.
And I think I would go that far too, that I think Carnage Park is more well made than Darling, but I like Darling more. I don't know. I think I just liked his stylistic choices, and it was more up my alley.
Right. I mean, Darling is definitely a more cerebral film. It's because it's dealing with more of a psychological horror, so he got to play around with more camera tricks and things like that, and make things more surreal. And then it was also in black and white, so
it's more of a going for like unsettling.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, where I have a really difficult time with these, just like ultra violence.
Like
people getting slaughtered. I'm just like,
yeah, I prefer.
It's exhausting. Like watching people just get slaughtered.
To a certain extent, it is. Yeah, I have yet to see Pod. I'm gonna try to go back and watch that, because I want to see that, because that's more of a sci-fi horror. So, and he has a new one coming out called Psychopaths, which I don't really know anything about that, but man, he's just looks like Ashley Bell's in Psychopaths too. Looks like a lot of the same people. Oh, Jeremy Gardner's in Psychopaths. Yeah, but he's definitely a director to watch because he's been just cranking them out lately.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're getting better. Like I think that they're not bad. They're not bad movies. They I think that they all have some issues with them, but he's definitely got an interesting voice.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially if you're into that genre.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right, Carnage Park. I'm gonna give that a 6 out of 10.
I give it like a 5.5.
There you go. That's it's better than I thought you would do. I didn't think you were gonna like that one too much.
It's just I don't know what to do with these films because we're going to discuss another one because I watched Green Room, and that's another film that I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about these.
Okay, I understand. Carnage Park is, I believe, that is available on VOD right now. So that's on VOD and playing in select cities. So you can check it out. And I would say, if you're into violent horror movies, it's worth a look. It's definitely got that kind of throwback 70s feel to it. It almost feels like a movie that Rob Zombie would make if Rob Zombie could make good movies. Because there's some like kind of really weird stuff in there. Like some of the stuff he has like hanging around on his compound almost looks like he's got some sort of ritualistic thing that he's got going on.
Yeah, he's Vietnam had quite an effect on him.
Yeah. That's Carnage Park. Let's talk about someone we've been watching on the watch list. I think it's my turn to go first this week. Is it?
Do it.
I saw Wiener-Dog.
Lucky.
The old Todd Solondz. I would say I'm glad I rewatched Welcome to the Dollhouse because we had Ryan watch that for Ryan Watches a Movie, and I rewatched it. And I'm glad I did because there's actually I knew that Dawn Wiener was in this, and I knew Greta Gerwig was playing Dawn Wiener, but Kieran Culkin actually plays Brandon, the other kid from Welcome to the Dollhouse. And then his brother with Down syndrome is also in this. So they brought back 3 of the characters from Welcome to the Dollhouse as adults. And that in and of itself was interesting. So this is four different stories that are the only connection they really have is through this dachshund. And it's I don't know. I don't want to say I don't know if it's definitely not his best movie. It deals with it's an uncomfortable film like most of his movies. There's one scene in particular where Julie Delpy talks about dogs getting raped to her young son, and that was definitely interesting. And there's something that happens towards the end that will certainly shock audiences. But it was I felt like it was more restrained than most of his other movies. It isn't to say it was bad by any stretch. I liked it quite a bit, and all of the stories are really unique and interesting in their own right, and it's very funny. So, Wiener-Dog, I would definitely recommend. This is probably one of my favorites this year so far.
Ooh, nice.
I had a blast with it. It's very funny, but it's a very specific style of humor that a lot of people probably may not like. A lot of people seem to like the more Will Ferrell, style. Seth Rogen style humor, whereas this is just very awkward, dry humor.
Yeah.
That, if you're familiar with his films, then I think that you'll like this one for sure. And I definitely liked it more than Palindromes and Life During Wartime and Dark Horse. So this is probably like my third or fourth favorite. I think I liked it more in Storytelling too, actually. Yeah. So definitely recommend checking out Wiener-Dog whenever it comes out in your area.
I'm looking forward to some Wiener-Dog.
You'll like it.
Nice. I watched Bunny Lake is Missing from 1965. This is an Otto Preminger film, a little mystery movie. Black and white cinematography, fantastic. Performances, great, especially Laurence Olivier as the superintendent, the detective that's on the case. Essentially, it's just this brother and sister in Britain. They're American. She takes her daughter, to first day of school. when she goes at the end of the day to pick up her kid's not there. Kid's name, Bunny Lake, hence the title. So she calls in police, trying to find this kid. Police start thinking that kid doesn't exist, right? So that's where they're thinking. That's where they're headed. But everything works wonderfully in the missing persons procedural that makes up the majority of the film. It's just, Olivier asking questions, getting answers, and he's not quick to make any judgments. He's really, he's calm and he's calculated. And it all works quite well. And then there comes a point in time where the movie twists. There's the plot twist that lets you know what's going on. And it's just, it really works as a twist because you don't really see it coming because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it's just like the whole movie changes, like just on a turn of a dime, and you're just like, okay. And it turns into this completely different movie where you're dealing with someone with mental illness that they've been dealing with like their entire life, but no one mentioned it whatsoever or thought to mention it. Like it's really bizarre. And it's a really jarring turn because in the beginning of the film, you have all this like reason and logic of, Olivier asking questions and doing the investigation and trying to figure things out and being reserved in his judgments and everything. And then all of a sudden, all that's just kind of like thrown out the window. And it just kind of fell apart for me towards the end there.
That's unfortunate.
I would still like, it's like a light recommend, but man, it just, I don't know. And it's based off of a book, so I guess that was in the book as well. I don't know if they handled it better in the novel or what, but it just seemed like completely out of left field type thing.
That's unfortunate. So that's Bunny Lake is missing. I saw Men Go to Battle. I'm not going to talk really too much about this because I have a suspicion that we're going to be reviewing this on next week's show.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, so directed by Zachary Traitz, and I'll just say this: check it out. I would say go check it out if you're into really dry. It's a comedy, but don't go into it expecting to laugh a whole lot. I would say that the trailer makes it out to be a lot funnier than it actually is. But the idea of a Civil War comedy is one that I think that's an untapped resource. I would love to make a Civil War comedy because there's not really too many of those out there.
No, there's not. And you got the two guys from New Cops.
Yep. And I gotta say, they are hilarious in this. And I could hear them just have conversations with each other all day.
You just make that a movie, and you would watch it.
Yeah, but I would want it to be. I would want it to be in a Civil War setting, though.
Gotcha.
Because that's what makes it funny. The fact that it takes place in 1861. So we'll talk more about it on next week's show. But it comes out next week, so we'll definitely get into it. Keep it on your radar, though. Men Go to Battle.
So excited for that one. I watched Cemetery of Splendor from a Pitcher Pond We Rest Cyclical. This, real quick, this popped up on Netflix Instant, right? Nowhere on my Netflix did it tell me that this popped up on Netflix Instant. I found out about this because of Twitter. Someone was like, Cemetery of Splendor is on Netflix right now. And I was like, no, it's not. I don't see it anywhere. Then I type in Cemetery of Splendor. Boom, there it is. Why you hide your shit, Netflix? It's a 2016 movie. Put that on the front page. Especially if you got those algorithms for me, like, hey, I think you would like this. I've watched all of his movies. Don't you think that should be on the front page for me? Fucking Netflix, man.
No, they put like season 4 of the Trailer Park Boys on there instead.
They put all the Trailer Park Boys on there. And it's like, I've never watched Trailer Park Boys, and I'm never going to. Stop putting it on the front page. So anyways, Cemetery of Splendor. If you're a fan of his movies, definitely check it out. It's utterly transfixing. It's a very calm movie. Much of it is just static shots of what's happening here is they bring these soldiers into this small town because they have this sleeping disorder, sleeping sickness or whatever. They sleep. it's almost like narcolepsy. They're asleep for long periods of time. They wake up for a little bit, and that they think everything's fine, and then all of a sudden they just fall back asleep, and then they have to put them back in the beds, and they get these sleep apnea machines and stuff, and they have these tubes like next to the bed that go through different colors, so it'll be like green, and then it'll kind of flush to red, and then it'll flush to like the blue. So they have it, and it's just long static shots of like people sleeping with these lights going, and for some reason it just works. And then you have like the whole, essentially like the soundtrack is just like the breeze blowing through the windows and like insects chirping and that type of thing. It almost just it's almost like it's trying to lull you to sleep. But it's really interesting in the sense that they have, and I'm kind of ignorant. Well, not kind of. I'm full on ignorant of what's happening in his homeland, politically speaking. But I know that he's trying to touch on some of that. So I'm just kind of grasping at straws and just trying to figure things out. And they have this whole thing where they say that the soldiers that are sleeping, their spirit or their energy is being drained by, because it's on top of a cemetery of kings, and they're still fighting their battle. So that's why they're asleep, because they're getting all their energy drained because they're being used to fight these battles. And it gets you really into a mood of like meditation. It really gets you thinking. And it's just, there's something about like the rhythm of his movies and just the overall feel to them that I love so much. So I would highly recommend that.
Okay, and that's Cemetery of Splendor by Pitchapong Weerasethakul.
And then I immediately watched Green Room after that, which is like the most insane transition you can have. Do not do that. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, I did this, the same thing happened with Carnage Park. I watched like a really like wonderful movie that was kind of slow and it's just very inviting and it's just kind of chilled you out. And then I went into Carnage Park and it was just
yeah, it sounds like you should have tried to do the opposite. Green Room, then Cemetery of Splendor.
It's just like, holy shit.
So I saw Independence Day Resurgence. Now, before you say anything, I'm going to give a little backstory about this. So, 20 years ago, I saw the original Independence Day. My dad took me to see the original Independence Day, and I loved it. We had a great time. His guilty pleasure is disaster movies. My dad likes a lot of movies. My dad, he's definitely a movie buff, but his guilty pleasure is disaster movies. So when the first Independence Day came out, we went to go see it. I loved it as a kid. I thought it was just so much fun, and just, it is the quintessential summer blockbuster popcorn movie. And so he was visiting this year for 4th of July, and one thing that he wanted to do was go see Independence Day Resurgence. So I was like, all right, yeah, it'll be kind of a nostalgic, trip down memory lane, so to speak. Whoa, boy, were we in for a surprise, because this movie probably was the worst thing I've seen all year. I wanted to walk out of this thing so bad. He fell asleep, and he slept through most of the whole movie. This movie is an absolute disaster, no pun intended, from start to finish. It is so, and I didn't go into it expecting greatness, but It is so much worse than whatever you're thinking about Independence Day Resurgence right now, Kevin, it is worse than that.
Wow.
This is like Sci-Fi presents Independence Day Resurgence. It is such a garbage movie. I did not enjoy 1 minute of this film, but
have them special effects.
They're not great. They're not great. I mean, they're on par with the other kind of effects-laden Michael Bay-esque movies that are coming out these days, where they're fine, but there's nothing visually arresting with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, okay, yeah, I get it. Cities are being destroyed, and that's the thing about this movie is like they take the events of the first one and crank it up to 11, and I'm telling you, half the world gets destroyed in this movie. I mean, and they don't even really explore that or kind of discuss the fact that the alien ship is, I think they said it's 3,000 miles long, and it just destroys so much of the world, and they're just like, they just kind of skate over that. They show it happen, but you don't really see the effects of that and like what that does to the world. And it takes place. So it
brings everybody together, Adam. That's what it does.
It takes place 20 years after the events of the first film, and in that time, the Earth used the alien technology to like develop all of these new weapons and new lines of defense if they come back. And in one motion, the aliens destroy everything that we did. And then they introduce this other thing into the movie, and you're just like, what is going on? And they use the most ridiculous plot devices that make no sense whatsoever. The leaps in logic that they take in this movie, it doesn't follow its own rules, which drives me crazy. Like there's a scene where they have a team that flies into like the alien mothership, and they're flying their jets, their alien jets throughout this mothership thing, and the mothership cuts off all the power. There's like an EMP type thing that cuts off all the power to their jets, so they can't fly, they don't have weapons, all this stuff, but somehow they still have comms, so they can still communicate with each other and home base. And it's just like, it's small things like that really add up to be utterly ridiculous. But that the thing that they add, I'm just gonna straight out say it, they add another alien race into this movie.
Oh shit!
And
are we getting invaded by two, or is this one helping?
It's helping. It's helping. But what it is it's basically a white sphere. It's like a giant white ball that it's just like an AI thing, and it helps humans. And oh my god, dude, it is utterly ridiculous. I couldn't even believe what I was watching. The dialogue is unbelievably atrocious, and I frankly can't understand how anyone, because they brought back almost the whole cast. They brought back everybody except for Will Smith. And
so instead of having a movie where a black guy saves all of humanity,
it's Liam Hemsworth.
They have a white guy. Well, and not only that, they're like, oh, let's add to it and make it a white sphere.
Yeah, it's not just Liam Hemsworth. It's it's an ensemble like the first one, and it's the son of Will Smith. So so
they do get him in there.
Yeah, but it's funny because they have to write him out of the story, so they just nonchalantly mention the fact that he was killed in a training mission. They're like, yeah, I know your dad was killed in a training mission, but we're here to fly these planes. And I was like, okay, well, I guess that wraps that up. And then also, so Vivica A. Fox is in it, and she dies because if you remember in the first movie, she's a stripper, right?
Yeah.
In this, she's a freaking doctor. So somehow, and I'm not saying that strippers can't be doctors, but it's a little bit of a leap there.
That's cool that she
either way, she
accomplished that.
Yeah, she furthered her career and all that. She dies like almost immediately, and it's just the line, because of course her son is right. It just happens to be right there to see her get killed, and he's like, "Mom, no!" It's just, oh my god.
Wow.
Sorry for the spoilers for anybody but don't see this. Like, I hope I spoiled it for you to the point that you no longer want to see it, because it is so cringe-inducingly bad. It's, man, good. I mean, there's good people in this. Charlotte Gainsbourg's in it. The girl from, I think, what's her name? McKenna Grace? Is that who I'm thinking of? The girl from It Follows, and no, that's not who I'm thinking of.
What?
What is her name?
Monroe.
Micah Monroe, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
The girl from It Follows and The Guest. She plays Bill Pullman's daughter. I don't know why they didn't get the actress that played his daughter in the original one, because she's still acting, but whatever. She's pretty good in it. It's just that the dialogue they were working with was so terrible. Like, it wasn't funny. Like, it just didn't have that charm that the original one did.
Yeah.
But yeah, Independence Day Resurgence is a complete pile of shit, and it should be avoided.
Okay, so I mentioned it. I saw Green Room right after watching Cemetery of Splendor. Which again, I don't know if that's one of those things where because of watching Cemetery of Splendor beforehand, if that's kind of informing how I felt about Green Room, because Cemetery of Splendor kind of lulled me into this very relaxed state of like meditation and being thoughtful and stuff like that. And then you go into Green Room where it's just like nonstop brutal violence, because the violence in this movie is fucking brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I mean, holy shit. That I couldn't do it. I mean, I made it to the end, but I was not interested in this at all. I mean, and it's tough to try and to detach the personal from, because it's a well-made film. Don't get me wrong. The performances are good. It's wonderfully shot. The Imogen Poots and Macon Blair, which I was really happy to see Macon Blair in there.
And he was great in it too.
And yeah, those two are just, they're fantastic, and everyone else to a certain extent too is great as well. I thought that those two were the best. And the cinematography is great, and I thought everything about it execution wise it's good. It's a good movie. I have no interest in seeing this or experiencing this. You know what I mean? Like maybe at a different time. Maybe if I didn't watch Cemetery Splendor beforehand. Let's say I watched Carnage Park and then I watched Green Room. Maybe I would be more, I don't know, attuned to it or something. You know what I mean? It's just I couldn't take like the box cutter. I couldn't take the dogs. I could, it's tough to see someone's throat ripped out and just have, like close up of the throat being
Yeah.
ripped out, and someone's arm being hacked up, and it's just like, oh my god.
You probably should have worked your way down. So you should have started with Green Room, then did Carnage Park, then Microbe, then Cemetery.
Yeah.
So start up and work down.
It would have worked out so much. I would have felt so much better.
Yeah, I would say Green Room is still probably my number one movie of the year. It's up there. I loved it. But I totally agree with you that the level of violence, and it's not just like gory horror violence, it's grisly real violence. It looks real.
It's almost too real, I think, is the problem. And it's just so blunt and brutal.
Yeah.
Like this person walks into this pit. Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
This person comes out the door. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's Jeremy Saulnier has a knack for, I don't know if he does that himself as far as the makeup effects and all of that, or if he uses the same, or if he's using the same crew that he used for Blue Ruin, or maybe it's just how he shoots it, but it's just on another level as far as the realism.
And again, props to them. They do a fantastic job because it looks real as shit. But it's almost one of those things where it's like, it's maybe too real. And and at certain times, it kind of just felt like violence for violence' sake. Like it was just, like it was kind of unrelenting with its violence. It's and it's, Blue Ruin kind of had some of the same things going on, but you had Macon Blair at the center and his character that kind of softened up the movie a little bit. Where here you kind of have that with Anton Yelkin and even Macon Blair again to some extent, but it needed to be softened up a little bit more for me.
Yeah,
a lot more actually. It's just I couldn't handle it. Just be honest, I couldn't handle it. It's not for me.
It's definitely it's definitely a difficult film for sure. Just trying to endure it because it's really intense. I never thought that it glorified the violence though. Like I never got that idea.
And that's the thing that I'm still trying to tackle. You know what I mean? Because like Carnage Park's kind of the same way.
I think Carnage Park did glorify it though.
Yeah, and I didn't have as much of a problem with Carnage Park. I don't know if it was because it was going for that grindhouse feel.
Yeah,
but it was more.
That's what it was. It might be a tone thing.
Well, yeah, that too. I think the tone helps with it, and the fact that I couldn't take Pat Healy seriously because he didn't hold a sniper rifle right. But it was kind of like a recognizable grindhouse look and tone to it. Like, I mean, in a sense, you can call Green Room grindhouse, but it doesn't have the look and like the straight up like it lifted from Grindhouse influences.
Right.
I don't I can watch something like John Wick, which is just nonstop, but I'm okay with that.
I think it's a tone thing, because with John Wick, again, although that it's extremely violent, it's done in a more like action-oriented way where
and he at least got some choreography there.
You don't take it so seriously. Whereas Green Room, like the way that they set it up and the way that they present the violence, it's done in a very, very realistic and really serious way. Although there is comedy in it, but not comedy when it comes to the violence.
Yeah, and there was a certain point where I was like, please don't say your Desert Island Band. And then he said his Desert Island Band. I was like, God damn it. I don't know, I didn't like that.
I didn't really care about whether or not
I know, it's a nitpicking thing, but I was just like, don't do that here. And they did. So I have no idea what to feel with Green Room. I mean, on a personal level, it's not for me.
Yeah, I can understand and respect that. I think the Green Room is not a movie for a lot of people. I think that it is a very kind of polarizing film, but it's still one of my favorites of the year. That's available on VOD right now, so you can check it out if you'd like.
I can't stress this enough. Don't watch Cemetery Splendor, then Green Room. Don't do that. You can watch both of them, but never in that order. Don't ever do that.
Not sure there'd be too many people in that situation.
Probably not. I don't know why I did that.
So that's Green Room. The last one I saw, keeping with the colors theme, was Red Road.
Oh, is this the
Andrea Arnold one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw this a while back, a couple months ago.
Correct.
So this was came out in 2006. I think this was her directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be right.
Basically, it's about a CCTV operator who happens to see someone from her past who she thought was in prison, but turns out that he got out, and she sort of becomes obsessed with him and watches him, and then starts to inject herself into his life, and it just kind of goes from there. The whole time you're trying to figure out, what is their relationship? What did this guy do? What happened? What was the event that occurred in her past that has kind of made her like this? Because she seems like kind of a shell of a woman at this point. She just goes through the motions of living life. So something terrible happened, but you're not exactly sure what. Yeah. And as the film progresses, they do reveal what that was. And I liked this movie a lot. The whole CCTV thing I thought was just interesting in and of itself, where your job is to watch people. Your job is to you have this sector of Scotland, and your job is to pan through CCTV cameras and look for trouble. And once this person shows up, she kind of puts all of her focus on watching this person, and as a result, she kind of like misses some really important things that are occurring, and it starts affecting her job, and she starts drinking more, and it's hurting the relationships that she has with those around her.
And she makes some really questionable decisions.
Yeah, I can't remember what you said about this movie, but there were multiple times during this movie where I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's just like, it's a frustrating movie because you just want her to stop and leave it, but she just can't. And she just makes some just really, really bad decisions. Although I thought that it ended in a really interesting way, because you don't know what's going on, and then the movie kind of turns into this revenge film sort of, and then it backs down from that. And I appreciated that, and I liked how they ended it.
I agree with you.
But I was already excited for American Honey, and now I'm really excited to see that her next movie, the one with Shia LaBeouf.
She is quite good.
Yeah. So that's Red Road. I would definitely recommend seeking that one out.
I got one more for you. That's Back to the Future 2, 1989.
Continuing your Back to the Future.
I want back to the
4A.
future. This is a weird ass movie. I had so many feelings throughout this movie. The first of which were like the first part where he goes like to the future. I thought it was really interesting to see all the futuristic stuff. No denying that. That stuff was that was great. Just seeing all the different shit. It was fantastic. I don't know why they have everyone doing weird ass voices. Like everyone has different voices, and why Michael J. Fox is playing his future kids, both the daughter and the son. That was just really bizarre.
Yeah.
Especially the way he plays the daughter. It's just really freaky. Freaked me out. It's just like, and because of that, because he plays his son too, but the way in which he differentiates himself from him and his son is he plays the son with this really annoying voice. And then, of course, he plays the future him, and all these people have different voices, and it's irritating as shit because they're all just really irritating voices. They're really grating, and it was just really pissing me off. And the main thing that I've come to find with this is I just hate the McFly family. Like why are they at the center of this? They're just a bunch of fucking losers. I hate their family. They're just awful. I don't know what it is about them. I just don't like them.
So you're on Biff's side.
I hate Biff too. I just hate both of these people in this town. They're like the two worst. Like there has to be more interesting people in this town, and it irritated the shit out of me. And also, I was just really confused by the whole Elizabeth Shue thing. How they just like zap her out and then just throw her in trash, and they're just like, "Well, just leave her." Like Jesus Christ! Like you guys are really self-centered. Like this is kind of ridiculous. You're just leaving her in trash, man. And they keep doing that to her. Like they don't even like when they come back to the new 1985 or whatever, and it's all like a shithole and there's bars on windows and stuff. And again, they're just like, we'll just lay her out here. And it's like, you guys don't see, like, I'm watching the movie and I can see that it's a shithole. Like, are you guys not more observant than that? So when it comes back to there, I again, completely at a loss. I don't understand why she would marry Biff, even though he has like a shit ton of money. Like, it still doesn't make any sense to me. And then, of course, they go back to the 1955 or whatever because they got to, fix everything that happened. And then it just feels like a rehash of the original movie because we're just watching all this stuff again.
I thought that was interesting. I thought that was a clever little thing where they go back to the original movie.
But it's really funny because at this point in time, remember, at the beginning of the film, I was really pissed off. I was irritated beyond belief. And then they got away from the future part, and I was like, oh, great. I don't want to go back there. But when they get to the third part and they're back in the 50s, I'm like, God damn, can we go back to the future? Like, I want to go back. It's just, I don't know. It's okay. Like, it's okay to me. It's an all right film. I just really don't like their family. I really hate the McFlys. I just hate them.
They're kind of annoying.
They're just, oh my God, they're the worst. And Biff, like, I don't understand how Biff and Griff, like, how he just does stuff, like, in the town and no one does anything. Like,
he owns the town.
It's like, but, yeah, like, they play it that way, but it's like, why don't someone just do something about Biff and Griff?
That hoverboard scene, though. Ooh.
Hoverboards are cool. I like the Max, what is that? Max Headroom?
Mm-hmm.
At the 80s cafe.
Yep. I think part 2 is still my favorite of the bunch.
And it's just the whole like chicken thing. It seems like,
what are you, chicken?
Yeah, like that is what holds him back in his life. Like, you're a pathetic person, man. Like, you don't have to do, like, if someone calls you a chicken, you don't have to do everything that they say. Like, he's just a really pathetic. They're just all pathetic people. It's just. I just want more of Doc Brown doing his thing. I want to know what he's doing during all of this because it seems like he's having more fun.
Could be.
I don't like Michael J. Fox and his family. Fuck that. I just want. They can fucking fail for all I care. They just fail.
Would you rather have it be the Eric Stoltz version?
No, probably not. Because it's still. It's still like what the family like. They go back to go. So his kid doesn't go to jail. And it's like, that's what you have a time machine and you can do so much, and you're just going back to make sure that Marty McFly's life doesn't turn to shit. Like, that's really ridiculous. So much, so many better things that you could do.
I would love to see a Back to the Future 4 where they go back and kill baby Hitler.
Yeah, like there's so many like things that you could rectify instead of like this piece of shit kid that doesn't have a backbone that just gets thrust into the situation because he can't stand up to Griff because his dad's like a loser. Because if someone says, "Oh, what are you chicken?" and he just immediately like they're pathetic people. Like we shouldn't be helping them. There's better people to be helping with this technology. And also, like, they have all this other futuristic shit, but no one else has come up with time travel besides Doc Brown. Like, how do they have all these other things, but they don't have time travel?
I don't know, man. It's 2015.
It's craziness.
There you have it. Back to the Future 2.
I can't wait for Back to the Future 3.
That's my
where
least
they go
favorite.
To the Wild West. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's my least favorite of them all. Just because I didn't care for the Wild West setting.
No, I hate the Wild West.
And they turn they turn a train into a time machine.
Shit.
I'm just, I don't know. I wasn't into that one, really.
Yeah, I want nothing. I'm gonna finish it out, but
oh yeah, I think you should finish out the trilogy.
I'm not excited about the prospects of Wild Wild West. And Marty McFly being his smart aleck self.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some predictions. Legend of Tarzan. You said 0 on this one. I said 46. Actual 34.
Oh.
The Purge election year. You said 36. I said 48. Actual 54. And the BFG. I said 68. You said 84. Actual 71. That movie bombed, by the way. Did not do well at the box office this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Critics seem to like it, but it didn't do so hot. I could care less.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look that great to me.
No. Next week we have The Secret Life of Pets. It's the animated film that I'm pretty interested in, actually. It looks like it could be fun. It could be fun animated film. I think it's a DreamWorks one, maybe?
Yeah.
What are you thinking on this one?
I'm going to say 78.
All right. Good score. Let's see. I guess I'll say 82 on that. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
This came out of nowhere.
I'm not interested in this one.
I've never heard anything about this, but it's everywhere now.
Yeah, it is.
I'm so confused.
They made a big marketing push on this one.
Out of nowhere. Just holy shit.
Anna Kendrick, Aubrey Plaza, what's his name? Adam Devine, and Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Probably worth some laughs, but this is one I could probably skip in the theater. I'll say 62.
I'm going to say 58.
All right. And I believe that's it as far as wide releases. In limited release, we have Captain Fantastic. It's one with Viggo Mortensen that I have no desire to see. Cell, which is the adaptation of the Stephen King novel that currently has a 0% right now with John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. I read the book, actually. I liked the book was pretty good about cell phones that turn people crazy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Fathers and Daughters. That's the one with Russell Crowe that doesn't look very good. Men Go to Battle, which I already mentioned previously. You should check that one out. 0 Days, which is the new Alex Gibney documentary about cyber warfare. I'm interested in that. That's pretty much it. Next week on Video on Demand, we have, this is for, so Tuesday, we have Me and My Mates versus the Zombie Apocalypse.
Oh, damn, that's a novel idea.
Yeah, probably won't be checking that one out. That's all I have for next week on VOD. There's probably some more in there, but that's all I have on the calendar. Blu-ray next week. This is for Tuesday, July 5th. We have Search Party. That's that Hangover-esque one with Thomas Middleditch and T.J. Miller. It's supposedly pretty horrible. The Adderall Diaries. That's the one with James Franco. I was actually kind of interested in that one, but I didn't really hear too much about it.
Mm.
By the Sea, that's the Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt one that I heard isn't very good.
I've heard differing things on that.
Doesn't look that appealing to me. Directed by Angelina Jolie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not too into that. The Family Fang, little Jason Bateman action.
Oh boy.
That's worth looking at, but I would not buy it.
No.
Vigilante Diaries looks like a generic action movie with Jason Mewes. Doesn't look great. Term Life, that's the one with Vince Vaughn and his weird haircut and Haley Steinfeld. That one kind of just came. That one just kind of materialized. It's the one directed by Robert. Was it Robert Billingsley? Peter Billingsley.
Still don't know.
Yeah, Peter.
Try a different first name. Try another one.
It's Peter Billingsley, Ralphie from A Christmas Story.
Oh wow.
Yeah, who ended up producing like all of the Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn movies. He directed that one. He also directed that Couples Retreat movie that came out a few years back.
Okay.
Yeah. Boy in the World. I'd recommend that one. That was a good one. Animated flick. Nominated for an Oscar. Let's see what else we got here. The Cabin Fever remake, which I have not seen, but it just does not look very good. Arrow is releasing Blood and Black Lace. Definitely recommend that one. Mario Bava action.
Hit it.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. What do we have on the old Criterion front next week?
We have one Criterion. That's from 1979. Arthur Hiller's The In-Laws, starring Peter Falk and Alan Arkin. I've never heard of this movie, right? Never heard of it. When this was announced, back when they did all their titles or whatever, this movie sounds amazing. Comedy with Peter Falk and Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this.
Well, we got it in, so
shit.
I'll be sending it to you.
Dope.
Because of the mail, I wasn't able to send it to you.
Awesome.
Because we got it in Saturday, so no mail went yesterday or today, so I have to send it out to you tomorrow.
It comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I gotta cram it.
Well, when you can.
Whew. Oh boy.
All right, I think that'll do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @filmpulsenet and @filmpulsekevin. And if you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/filmpulse, and consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.